Elizabeth, my love, you allow my portrait to watch over you while you sleep. I'm flattered. How do you deal with your father's death?
You're a vamp. The lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
This place looks like the picture I saw of the bomb site.
A colleague. Are you a doctor too? So you have no idea what really happened, but you executed him anyway.
Are you all right? I heard the hospital has been attacked. I found it in an abandoned building nearby. I thought you might want to keep these letters. Is it not dangerous to work here at night? Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood. I know how to be persuasive, Venus. At least one skull escaped Virgil's wrath. If some misfortune came upon you, who would be here to help you? No sign of a struggle. It seems Charlotte's friend knew the killer and let him in. Good evening, Mr. Lewis.
Fresh blood. The smell is so strong.
I'll see what I can do.
I feel like I've been played. Why did you hide from me her afflicted nature?
Which path? I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case? What do you mean? Why do people avoid you? You never lose your focus, do you? Can you tell me anything about the gang responsible for Albert's death? Good evening, sir. I am Dr. Jonathan Reid. May we speak? But Murden, Michael, is a vampire. He made you a blood-sucking creature of the night. Yes. Everybody should avoid that place until further notice. Maybe you felt smothered, but your desire to die at this moment may prove that you loved him, that you cannot bear his loss. I know you're taking drugs, Corcoran. Why take such a risk? Edgar, what happened? You speak of strikes and class enemy. Am I right to assume you're involved in trade union activism?
I was afraid of such bad news. People are so desperate they're ready to burgle a shop for drugs.
No need to apologize. Your condition is not your fault. Not your fault at all. Thank you. It may be nothing, but I'll investigate anyway. Where do they live? I'm not saying we could be friends, you and I. But perhaps we could collaborate to put an end to this epidemic. What kind of man is Dr. Swansea? Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reid. I'm so sorry. Good evening, Dr. Strickland. Some voucher for a free checkup in Whitechapel. What is Nurse Crane up to? I really must find her. Seymour won't bother you anymore. You're safe. If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood? If you don't mind, I have a few questions, so you're not angry with me. Is the situation better now that Dr. Swansea has returned? I'm sure in the future there will be some female physicians. It's just a matter of time. I've a mind to let you bleed out. Good luck then, sir. To be honest, I don't know. Please forgive me if I've upset you. We must all honor our departed loved ones in our own way. Yes, that explains how Doris Fletcher was infected and how she became an Ichor. She secretly visited her mother at Pembroke. You need to calm down, sir. But Mr. Dawson is mortal. Are you not afraid he might reveal who you are? Especially to your enemies. A vampire, crying over the death of a loved one. It sounds like a bad joke. Edgar, as much as I would like to believe you, I have a few concerns that require clarification. For how long have you been working here, Nurse Crane? I understand what you mean. I was a soldier too. Are you all right, Miss Shun? Have you heard anything from your family? Were both your parents killed by vampires? When I rescued you, you expressed joy at seeing the sky again. So I'm inclined to believe you were trapped or buried somehow. Maybe during a shelling. You're the man who hid that bomb. How did you survive the first hunt? You're right. I know little of your situation. What can you tell me about Christina? Do you have any idea where she could be? Maybe a time will come when you'll not have to hide who you are. But for now, I can only advise caution. What happened to you? Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care. Cygnus. The constellation that was supposed to protect Mary. I don't need your money, Clarence. What are you going to do next, Thoreau? Do you still think about the promotion mentioned by Dr. Tippett in his report? Miss Gillingham, why did you give Martin Nightingale the watch I returned to you? How did you meet Lady Ashbury? This is a letter, Miss Gillingham. It's written by your son. I came here because I believe you deserve to know the truth. Your son is dead, Miss Gillingham. I'm so sorry. I need the antidote to save this city, McCullum. For the last time, you have to go to Whitechapel. The path is safe. You need someone to take care of you. You can't accept the fact we're not enemies, can you? So that is all we are to you. Puppets you create to defeat some threat born from a dreaming devil. Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in this hospital? I never thought I would have to attend my murdered sister's funeral. Mary, I can't forgive myself. I'll find the truth about what happened to us. I swear. Why is that? Take this. It'll help. Perhaps you should think about closing the turquoise turtle for a while. Goodbye, Mr. Kimura. Take care. How long do you think you will stay here, Mr. Fiddick? I was just being polite. I'm Dr. Reid. I'd like to ask you some questions, if I may. How was Mary? And have you ever tried to learn more about her? Where she lives? How she survives? Whom she may know?
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
How long have you been a nurse? If that is true, you're a lucky man. I may even envy you. I know, Avery. I know about Mary and my mother. Do you need my medical attention, Charlotte?
Can't you just leave me alone? Your precious queen has been sent back to the bottomless pit from whence she came. The nightmare is almost over.
I have destroyed the disaster, this creature that Harriet Jones had become. The epidemic is no more, and London will recover. In time. He didn't survive the procedure. He was too weak. Since I took an oath to help people, can I be of assistance? I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed anything unusual recently? Are you always open this late at night?
Dorothy, the discussion has come to a close. Your clandestine activities in the Resistance are over. Let it go.
Is this your retreat? Something of a secret place? You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another. Louise's father was determined to find and save her. But did you see or hear anything? If your true purpose was to help, you wouldn't take money from the poor for your snake oil. And what about the epidemic? Are you on your own? Do you have any friends or family who you could be with? My lord, do not expect me to speak ill of Lady Ashbury. This shelter is the tip of the iceberg. You hide your game well, I'll give you that. Are you all right, Miss Howcroft? I understand that living in poverty may be a doorway to a life of crime, but you are still young enough to turn back. She's Britain's most famous actress. I'm surprised you have not seen her on stage. That's all for now. Goodbye. Have you shared your research with anybody else? If it is God's will to punish me for my alleged sins, to make people I love suffer and die, then he did a good job. But he won't ever be my lord. A love letter from Joe Peterson's wife addressed to Barrett Lewis. Who should I give it to, I wonder?
Who was that man? The one murdered in the street?
I'm sorry, Mother. I didn't mean to hurt you. I appreciate the invitation, but I'm here to solve the mystery concerning the death of a young woman killed by a vampire. You'll feel better after taking this. This poor creature can't be my maker. Could it be some subspecies of vampire? I must find a place to analyze the blood. Why stay here, then? Good evening, sir. I'm amazed you made it back to the docks alone. Good for you. Elizabeth was always a fan of solitude. How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital? I'll meet that woman now. I know more than enough to understand your situation. For a reporter, you certainly lack impartiality. With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together? Perhaps you did it with the best intentions, Nurse Brannigan, but you took a great risk. Must I remind you that a man died? Why would you be stupid? What was the nature of the mistake? Old Bridget. What are you doing here?
But Lord Redgrave definitely possessed Marshall's blood. Untainted blood from the greatest vampire knight.
Still awake at this late hour, Mrs. Fishburne? I understand your irritation, Venus, but you have to accept the trauma Clarence endured on the battlefield. I'm afraid the newspapers are seriously underestimating the situation. Things are critical, believe me. This place. Rain may have washed away the blood, but not the memory. My poor Mary. Forgive me. With the epidemic, I tend to forget people are supposed to sleep at night. Do you think they can be trusted? I'm better than one might expect, Lady Ashbury. Dr. Swansea has asked me to investigate the recent disturbances in the hospital, caused by skulls. I feel perfectly fine. Do I have cause for concern? Thank you for your kind words, Edgar. We will talk again soon. Goodbye for now, my lady. I don't know. Maybe you could just talk to me. Ask your question, Vicar. If Sean Hampton and Harriet were not the guilty parties, then who? I saw the bodies and the blood. You were worried about young Rufus as much as you were worried about Seymour. You care. This is who you are and why you suffer. What do you think of Dr. Tippett's opinion of your promotion, Waverley? Indeed, she has. I'm glad you like her too. Why? What is it? Do you now realize that your wife was poisoning you all this time? What is going on between you two, then? Why is his blood so sacred to the Ascalon Club? I really cannot say, Dr. Swansea. The cards told you to expect me. Good to see you too, Carol. Are you all right? What is your opinion of Aloysius Dawson? Who was she? Really? Do you need my medical attention, miss?
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Will you bear ill will towards me for his death? I've made myself perfectly clear. This is a private matter. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid. May I have your attention for a minute? Tell me how you feel about the Fishburne family, Rufus. Tell me truthfully, why are you so thankful? But what are you going to do next? You cannot want to spend the rest of your life hidden here. What kind of violence? Who could have stolen a corpse? No family at all? No friends? I will see you later. Here's another switch. I should keep looking.
I was given an order to kill. I was an obedient gang member at the time, a proud wet boot boy.
Goodness, Clarence. I just want to ask some questions about the old neighborhood. I need to get out of here! What are you going to do now? But Aloysius Dawson is only a rich merchant. You should return to a safer place, Miss Teasdale. What's more, I'm not sure you should see your father in his condition. He was savagely disfigured. There is no need to be ashamed. We are all equally vulnerable to this disease. Must I take a life to live? You seem upset, madam. Are you sure you're okay? There is really no need for payment. You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannick. What are you going to do now? Do you have any plans? Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything? This man has been savagely attacked and dragged to the floor. Have you seen Elizabeth? Has she passed this way since you returned? What about medical protocols?
Please have it, Dr. Reid, I insist. I'm sure you'll find it more useful than I would.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid. I'm investigating this disease. Why would the Guard of Prewen believe you and I created the vampire epidemic? Why flee with Sean Hampton? Dr. Tippett, you still look exhausted.
And good evening to you too, my good sir. Can I be of any help?
The important question is, what do you really think of your husband? Enid, listen to me. You must not trust Martin Nightingale. Do you understand? Are you not afraid? You are surrounded by vampires. I'm sure she knew the risk she was taking working here, wouldn't you say? Those you grew up with didn't share your views on money and success. I will see you later. Martin Nightingale. He used to come here and talk to you. Is that a good thing? Should I lie to them? Well, I think you do. Take this, and you'll feel better. You cannot expect the newspapers to expose the truth while the war is still raging. I can assure you that the situation here is desperate. I'm here on my own, sir. I have no official appointment other than my desire to save lives. Do you remember now what your mother did to you, Carol? Do you realize how badly she treated you? But I'm not dead, Mother. I'm really here. Talking to you. Trying not to cry. He's my friend. I thought it might help him rest, instead of going outside at night. Tell me, what are your thoughts about vampires? What can you tell me about this area? You only work at night.
One thing I learned from my time in France is how to kill. Now I'm going to war for myself.
Shooting a boy in the middle of a street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say? What do you fear? Don't be ashamed, Mr. Blight. Many soldiers who survived the trenches suffer from musophobia. I'll see what I can do for your friend. I think we were both afraid. What are you really afraid of, Agamemnon? An irrational fear like yours is usually rooted in a specific event. Perhaps it would help to talk about it. Doris was a heavily mutated Skal, almost a new breed entirely. It's as if the disease had completely altered her mind and body. Highly contagious. You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick, unless you tried to hurt yourself. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid from the Pembroke Hospital. May I ask who you are, and why all the questions? It may mean nothing to you, Benjamin, but I've created a new way to conserve and transfuse blood. It could revolutionize medicine. When she was younger, my mother was a painter and a poet. She told me many times how poor her artist friends were, and how she helped them. Have you heard rumors of underhand dealings in the hospital? I have so many questions, Elizabeth. Your mother?
That's what I tell myself each time I'm about to quit my job.
Did Clarence recently show you documents that prove the existence of vampires? I doubt your delicate soul will be able to endure the pain of being here, sir. You really must be careful and rest a little. You put a price on hope. This goes against everything you swore to uphold as a nurse. Goodbye, Mr. Swanborough. I'll leave you now. I know you fled the hospital with Sean Hampton. Did you or Sean kill anyone in your flight? Anyone? Try and remember. These scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. I want to know your feelings about the report Dr. Tippett's filed about you. Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone. It looks like vampires have to obey Mendel's laws when producing progeny. Powers pass from one generation to another. That's why Dawson wants me to sire him. May I ask who you are, sir? I recently made a terrible decision. I decided to strike back against the tyranny of the few. I know that they will retaliate, but I'm ready for whatever comes. This vampire is as powerful as he is wicked. Very well. You have definitely intrigued me. I hope you're right, Sean. I wish I could forget all this. Have you heard about any blackmail going on in this hospital? Do you want me to play the errand boy for you? Oswald, tell me about what happened when you were buried in that tunnel with Newton. What makes you say that? I must insist, sir. Please let me see Nurse Crane. You consider him a good practitioner, yet you will not report his methods. Are you worried about the sanitary situation in London? Try not to lose yourself in the process. I've seen patients deny their own pain by focusing on the pain of others. I realize now you knew my father better than I did. Do you know why he left Avery? Did he ever speak to you about his departure? Don't you see we're on the same side? We fight to help the poor, sick, and abandoned. How did you end up in William Bishop's den? You're safe as long as you stay here. Those people who hunted you have learned their lesson, I can assure you. Do you really think I neglected my mother, Avery? Tell me about your true feelings for Newton. Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him? It's your fault, Benjamin. You shot at him. What kind of example is that? Pull yourself together. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid. How can I help your son? How is the sanitary situation evolving in Whitechapel these days? Good evening, miss. Can I help you? Why is it going to be a long night? Harriet is possessed by her hatred. You cannot let her roam free. She's dangerous. I haven't the luxury of being able to satisfy my hunger on staunched blood and lifeless flesh. That man was determined to murder you. You almost died. I cannot say. It looked like a scowl, but at a more advanced stage of mutation, as if the disease itself had evolved within its body. Tell me how your husband died, Xiaoshun. Where was he last seen? Is he dangerous? Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help, and complaining about it won't do you any good. London's lone gourmet. What a strange title. Lying and cheating are not qualities that one expects of a mature adult, my boy. What about those we left behind, face down in the mud? You want to change places with them? You cannot waste your chance at life this way. Thank you. I'll keep that proposition in mind. I still enjoy living in London, no matter how difficult it can be sometimes. Rational thinking only. I should find the key to that box. You're right, Miss Paxton. My clothes and my manners do speak for me, and I may not belong here, but that doesn't make me a bad person. Are you all right, miss? How is the situation now Dr. Swansea is back? My sister. Will the Guard of Prewan and the Ascalon Club fight each other? Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity? Have you any idea who could have killed Mr. Lewis? Another gang member, perhaps? I don't expect you to believe me, but I admire your courage. I really do. I remember now. He used to post me these riddles, as though they were sent by a mysterious games master. I'd spend weeks trying to decipher them. That's where you're mistaken. So you claim Miss Jones' death was not by your hand, nor the other incidents at Pembroke. You made a mistake. A terrible mistake. Maybe an unforgivable one. But that does not mean that you are a monster. You seem embarrassed. Tell me about yourself, Dorothy. You mean you actually saw a vampire? Here in London. It is an unbelievable story, Mr. Chidana. Why Aloysius Dawson? Whatever you've done, you can't spend the rest of your life hiding here. It was your blood Edgar used for his experiment on Harriet Jones. Do you need my medical attention, sir? I get it. You need to be alone. I'll leave you to it. Here is another page of the diary we were talking about. What can you tell me about this part of town? Right then. It's a sick game. But given no choice in the matter, I might as well win it. You seem quite agitated. Here, let me examine you. Of course. What is it? Don't worry. Jack will come back. Good evening, Harry. May I come in? Here is the money. He's an alcoholic. That must make life difficult. Why would you be the bad sister? Perhaps you were trapped or locked in somewhere as a child. The horror of war could have brought this memory back to the surface. With everything that's happened recently, the war, Spanish flu, I must concede that these are difficult times. I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed anything unusual recently? No. By the look of his clothes, this man's a docker. Can you change? And is it what you really want? If so, it must come from within. Not without. No need to apologize. Really. I don't think you're gang material. You need to realize that. I'm no saint. But to take advantage as you do, you are a despicable man who could only prosper in these dark times. Who are you waiting for? I'm sure he has a name. Perhaps you should have told him how you really felt. As a journalist, truth was all he cared about. As a man, well, we all have our flaws. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll have a look. You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire. I came to the conclusion that my maker, whoever he might be, must be a powerful vampire. Certainly extremely old. Well, I am not someone so easily intimidated. What sort of creature is this? Why do you suddenly need me? How is the old rascal? Signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then he tried to operate on him again. Miss Cavendish, would you be willing to help me locate Sean Hampton? Elizabeth, I can still sense a presence. Sounds like you were an idealist, which is honorable. That's a disturbing answer, young lady. And the worst part of it is, I know you speak the truth. Tell me what really happened then. You agreed to be confined here then. How are you adapting to immortality? If you continue shouting, I'll have you restrained and gagged. Understood? You refused to kill him because you wanted to feel some of that happiness yourself. You empathized with him. So you mean your customers know about your sordid past? Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon. What happened then? Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow? Are you ready for immortality, Mr. Dawson? Drink now. And say farewell to life as you prepare to be reborn. I will not look kindly on you if you're trying to trick me. I think this passage could lead me close to Aloysius Dawson's mansion. Maybe later then. Did you ever see that officer again? I am surprised about your reaction to Dr. Strickland's death, considering your disagreement with him.
To pray is the easiest thing when you lose someone, Dr. Reid. No need for faith in a god. All you need is the everlasting pain in your chest. No, thank you. Your medicine does its job, but it ain't making miracles despite everything.
You do not appear surprised or pained by this. Had you already visited their hideout in the sewers? Are you an Ekon too? Did you take pleasure in killing them, Seymour? All those people, all those lives extinguished. Tell me, Sabrina, do you really believe Tom has renounced his life of crime? You don't know me, Miss Paxton, and yet you see me as an enemy. I have a few leads, but nothing I can share for now. I need more time and more evidence.
Who are you? Reveal yourself. Let this woman be.
Do you know who the nurse was? Yes. He was badly disfigured. Nothing more than a beast. And I cannot guarantee it wasn't connected to his experiments. That's a very cynical point of view. There appears to be little room for kindness in your heart. I'm not sure that I know anymore. I need the blood of a king. The blood of Arthur. I'm certain you possess it, and I must have it. You mean your wife keeps you on your toes? Let's move on, then. This must be Clay Cox's knife. A fine blade. No wonder he wants it back. You're right. I give free medication to those who can't pay. Are you not afraid Priwen will find you? Next time, they will do more than abduct and torture you. I found your son's suicide note, Beatrice. Maybe you'd like to read it. I'm not that easily shocked, Miss Cox. You can speak freely about your lover if you so wish. Why are you sad, then? Why is the guard of Priwen so obsessed with him? Locked. Maybe I'll find a key in the offices nearby. Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire? I won't do it. The very thought of it makes me sick. Forgive my bluntness, young man, but you don't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Take care, sir. Perhaps you should consider leaving Whitechapel for a time, to clear your head. What can you tell me about our patients here at Pembroke? How is business around here? Do you know Braille, Mr. Swanborough? I cannot tell you. You must trust me on this. I must confess I have not put an end to the blackmail, my lady. Unfortunately, I could not bring myself to do it. What are people running from? Is there anything you could tell me about Aloysius Dawson? That building is under quarantine. Could this be what I'm looking for? She's not famous, and her name is of no importance. And yes, she is also dead. This war won't last forever. Did you ever think of returning to your country now it's free? I see. Well, I'm not a stranger. I'm Dr. Reid. Is Mrs. Fishburne your mother? And now you don't. Lord Redgrave, what do you mean? Dr. Reid, may I come in, please? Only a golden watch in her pockets. A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here. No, Sean. I just came by to see how you are. Heard anything about Seanhampton Shelter lately? Have they come closer to the hospital? Have we met before? Speak to me, Carolyn. Why do you behave like this? How does it make you feel to hurt Carol before cajoling her? Whatever arrangement you had with my father, I won't force you to stay now that my mother is gone. What are you hiding from? How is the sanitary situation in Whitechapel? Is the quarantine serving any purpose? A restaurant where the guests are blindfolded before being seated. Intriguing. You tried to help him when he was alive. That's more than most people did. You seem unwell, sir. Do you need my assistance? You should be proud of what you've achieved. This hospital represents hope for many people in need of help. If life here is so terrible for you, why don't you just leave this place? Have you ever spoken to your father about it? There is no need to apologize, my lady. Your words have been most helpful in these difficult times. Who are you? Really? Mrs. Goswick. Come now, Mr. Lewis. I don't want to pry, but we both know there was more than just flirtation between you and Harry's mother. What can you tell me about your friend? Tell me more about these murders. You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
He visited me soon after his return. He asked me if I'd agree to some experimental procedure. I said I'd think about it.
Who are the more influential figures on the docks? Should I refuse? Perhaps politely suggest that Lord Redgrave turned the man into a vampire himself. Then I won't force you to heal. That is not how medicine works. I see. It is logical, I suppose. London is hardly coping with the infection. We have to be exemplary. Hello, Miss Price. Who? And these shadows, this presence. Do you still hear it? Was it a vampire? Did Sean see it? I must confess, I have quite specific tastes when it comes to nutrition. Carol's gratitude is exemplary. She seems determined never to leave you. Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to learn more about her. Very well. But I believe there is more to this than you are saying. Does it bother you? I'm sorry for your loss. My name is Jonathan Reid. What can you tell me about it? I chose to stay away. I didn't want to put you in danger. Why are you so strongly attracted to me, Carolyn? How are things around here? I have investigated new sources of infection, and I may have found a new type of scowl. One suffering from heavy mutations that is extremely contagious. Good evening, sir. Please forgive me for disturbing you. I'm a doctor. So you see nothing in the stars for me? You're a poor fortune teller, then. You don't remember the accident. So the disaster is some sort of accident. A disease vampires carry dormant in their blood, waiting to emerge. Do you live with her? Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am. How strange, this painting. Beautiful, melancholic, yet with a haunting dignity. Why is it that you sound so afraid? Tell me what really happened to you, Karina. Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital? Why do you want to leave the city? Exactly how bad is the supply situation here at Pembroke? Goodbye, Carol. You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times. Clayton's feelings towards you are romantic and serious. Is this feeling mutual, Christina? It seems the Prewin are redoubling their patrols in the district. I must be more careful. Palmer? As in Benjamin Palmer. So Prewin never left Doris's theatre after they invaded. They must be holding Edgar here in their new headquarters. It's all right, Avery. Thank you, my lord. Here it is. You feel nothing, do you? No empathy for your victims at all. I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me. This makes no sense. None of it. Tell me your feelings about Seymour's death, Rufus. Do you take pleasure in causing so much pain and sorrow? So it seems our Dr. Swansea does indeed have a fascination for creatures of our constitution. Just leave me! I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. She has been laid to rest. That's all you need to know. Inebriation aside, do you need medical help? Why did your son really join the guard of Prewin? Why does that upset you so much? My body. Tingling as it regenerates, like pins and needles in reverse. Good evening, Mr. Throgmorton. Dedication does not always generate passion. You have your wish. When we were at the funeral, I had a feeling. I think I met my maker. You have always been in danger, Carol, and I'm afraid the situation will only get worse. Your mother is capable of killing her own daughter. Not quite exotic enough for Mr. Russell's taste. But why would you need this person's help to leave London anyway? At this time, there is so little medical science can do to defeat this terrible epidemic. I'm truly sorry. Try to help her as much as she helps you, Rufus. Help each other through the grief. How was he towards you? I believe you may find this necklace of interest. I thought you'd been slaughtered, with all the other Suascals. Yes, you are. You too believe in providing medical care without charge. You know what we have to sacrifice to make the world a better place. I have nothing to fear from the people round here, miss. Will they fight the guard of Prewin? And what exactly have you learned about me? Have you tried to eat or drink something? How is the situation around here? Can I see what you have? Tell me everything you can about Seymour Fishburne's behavior. I know he can be violent. Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary? You believe them? Aren't you too old to hold a weapon or listen to scary stories? You really think you know the murderer? I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man. There is always a risk. You must know that. I believe love has neither boundaries nor rules, Mr. Darby, even if society says the opposite. Seymour nurtured a childish jealousy of the attention you gave to Rufus. No, I don't. I don't recognize it anymore. Or perhaps I just don't like it anymore, now that I've seen its true face. And yet you're still drowning in cheap liquor. And why not? What did Stoker say about the children of the night? Well, using my blood, I could create a whole army of vampires. I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized. Have you ever lost a family member to a vampire? Do you know that Christina is hoping to pay for her brother to travel to England in the near future? Why are you still waiting for this person? Perhaps you're right. We all have to live with what we've done. Your secret is safe with me. I'm still in Southwark. I must reach the West End. Go back home. What really happened? Hell. What do you mean? Are you not afraid someone might discover you here? It's not that hard to find. I think the documents in this box could be of some interest to you. A sword and a moon. These symbols are not here for decoration alone. You know you can't hide forever. One day you'll have to face your loved ones. Until that day, you have no chance of real recovery. Am I supposed to follow orders? Do you think prison changed you? Made you a better man? Well, there you have it. Take this remedy, but be discreet. It may damage your business otherwise. Protect your son, Benjamin. Don't you see? Whatever your quarrels, his salvation could be yours. What a mess. Something terrible happened here. But what? You sound disappointed. Why do you despise medical research, Waverley? We need to push the boundaries. Why do you dislike me so? Why stay here, since you're feeling better? Are you afraid of me? Why then do you always work the nights? Don't you ever sleep? We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Perhaps it's time for you to leave. Mary, I'm sorry. Whoever did this to us, I will find them. Tell me, nurse, did you know Dr. Tippets was addicted to medication? I was proud too. How could I forget that? What was the nature of the disagreement? I work at the Pembroke Hospital. I'm investigating the flu epidemic in this area. I hope you're right. This is a huge risk we're taking. Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reid, and I would like to ask you a few questions. May I enter, please? What are you talking about? Tell me all you know about that homicidal maniac you're looking for. Whoever he may be, the killer recently entered this bar. Maybe some of the locals saw him. It's your mother's choice. As daughters and sons, we have to accept the decisions our parents make for us despite our own wishes. Something tells me not to trust you. Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody, patients die every night, Dr. Ackroyd. All around the country. I'm afraid your posters were destroyed. You had it coming. You can't be violent, playing the local thug, and get away with it when someone actually dies. Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse. There's no rhyme or reason to this. Death has no purpose, and we can't predict where he'll strike. The sun is high. I cannot leave now. In other words, you take advantage of these poor lost souls. Maybe later then. How many are you in the Brotherhood? Albert, you seem unusually happy. That voice in my head. If I'm not mad, then it must belong to the one who made me what I am. I must find him to understand what I have become. I have found the secret laboratory, and I have the formula. You killed your family. It's of no consequence who I am. Be careful what you wish for, boy. It could happen. No, it's not over. I may have ended the vampire epidemic, but I still need answers from the woman I love. I'm so sorry, Mary. I promise to find who is responsible for all this.
I'll put an end to this horror.
Do you not want to be cured? Do you ever think about getting married, now you're a woman? Could father have conceived some sort of final game for me before he left? But isn't Aloysius Dawson known for his philanthropy?
No. Your place is here. Jailing you would be an even greater crime. So, here is my proposition. I'll look the other way on your little enterprise. In exchange, you will resign from the Pembroke Hospital and provide me with medical supplies when the need arises.
Why do you drink so much? I see. Well, since you are obviously hiding from a threat, don't you have a safer place to go? So the husband had an affair with Doris Fletcher. What have you uncovered concerning the murders? Let's simply agree that all are one and the same. In death, I mean. Why did you give the watch I brought you to Martin Nightingale? You want me to find possible sources of the outbreak in the West End. Is that it? Goodbye for now, Mr. Baker. Explosives are very dangerous, young lady. And who is this Emily? There is too much left unanswered. So many questions. He was mortally wounded. I put an end to his misery. He was a patient of mine at the Pembroke Hospital, but he left abruptly. Blood and empty gin bottles. This Bishop fellow is something of a heavy drinker. Did you steal Clayton Darby's wallet? Tell me the truth, Christina. What happened to your eyes? Are you thinking about something in particular? What are your expectations? Please be precise. I'll leave you to your planning and scheming, Miss Cox. No invitation is needed to enter this building. That can't be a good sign. Why would the locals avoid you? How was the funeral? You really don't feel rage anymore. Believe me, Mr. Kimura, I've met a few good Samaritans, but I'm not like them. Not at all. Do you know any of them? Have you an idea of the identity of the vampire who attacked me? I gather you have found an arrangement satisfying both ethical and corporal concerns. What kind of question is that? What am I supposed to answer, exactly? Did anyone see you? It's a long way from the dock sewers, and hunters are patrolling the streets here. What did he say about voices? This must be a picture of the bomb explosion Dyson Delaney spoke of. I shall return later. Thank you, Edgar. Why do you keep on working for the gang, Joe? You know it doesn't suit you. If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London, you must accept the risks. Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Have you any reason to be worried about her? You're something of a figurehead around here. And what else have you learned about me, Mr. Swanborough? Let me guess. You mean to isolate the rich from the poor. Is that the most honest answer you can give me? Quite depressing, wouldn't you say? What actions will you take? From Seymour to my beloved mother, Stella. What is this doing here? Who are these people? It's quite unsettling. As a doctor, I am more used to being the observer than the subject observed.
You had more soul than any of us. I am sure of it.
You've convinced me of the sincerity of your actions and their noble justifications, but all the same, blackmail is a crime, and it will stop, Nurse Crane. I'm sorry, but I can't. Good evening, madam. It's Dr. Reid again. May I come in? So you asked for membership. So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary. I understand your fight, but the gangs are no joke. Are you sure you're safe? What do you mean you're not alone? Who have you met? We're all truly alone in this world. You're lucky you learnt that early. She lied to you then. I could have saved her. And what about you? Working outside at night in this dangerous part of town. It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town. I think your hearing is fine, sir. How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick? Don't blame yourself for what happened. Something tells me you're not very keen on the man. What on earth? Are you sure about that? You clearly depend on her. I fear you are a hopeless romantic, Mr. Nethercott. Your diction, your words. You do not carry yourself like most Scals I've encountered. Dr. Jonathan Reid, that's who I am. And who are you? Done.
Mr. Throgmorton should be happy. Well, I must admit, it's good to receive a warm welcome for once. I'm Jonathan Reid. Well, I won't. I'm a doctor. Please, calm down, madam. I assure you that I am highly qualified. I'm just back from war duty. I'm much more myself than when we first met. By the way, I'm Jonathan, Dr. Jonathan Reid. Do you need assistance? So in the end, the accusation was true, wasn't it? Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way? I'm so sorry about your loss, Mrs. Fishburne. I'm Jonathan Reid. I'm a newborn Ekon. I'm afraid I'm not sure what's going on. You are always welcome at the Pembroke Hospital. As a former officer, I'll be honored to welcome a fellow veteran. When I kissed my poor Mary goodbye, I had no idea what I was doing. But now I do. Consider this my kiss of Judas. Don't you see it's an endless spiral? One day it will be you who'll be stabbed, or shot, or worse. For how long have you been in hiding here? Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city? Tell me, Charlotte, how do you plan to achieve eternal life, since you've obviously given it a lot of thought? What's wrong? All right. Let me hear it. I really don't know. I have always enjoyed seeing new horizons. Once the epidemic is over, it would be nice to leave London for a while. I know I have failed you since I returned. I even watched you bury Mary from a distance. From now on, I will protect you. You have my word. Have you any news on Aloysius Dawson? I have a question of the utmost importance to ask. Will you answer? Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful. Who could tell me then? Like you and your parents? I know you're looking for an honest job, Booth. You're tired of this criminal life, aren't you? Tell me, Carolyn, do you often wound or hurt your daughter by mistake? Have you no relatives anywhere? I'll understand if you want to take a few days to see family. So Doris just needed to be close to her audience to infect them. Contagion through skin. Very disturbing. I'll do that. Thank you for your help, Dr. Ackroyd. Tell me more about your strange feelings towards the city. Please, be my guest. You were as ignorant as I am about this young florist's origins. Did you learn anything about Camellia since her death? Oh, I believe you about that. But the question remains, what did you do with the body? You had to hide it somewhere. Clean the blood, since nobody found and reported it. It seems you have bad memories of your military service. They're definitely well organized and equipped. I will find a cure, Mary. I swear it. I understand your concern. I spent many months away from my family when I served on the front line in France. Before I go, I have a few questions. No, there was something more vile in these reactions, something primitive. I will become your maker. Do you understand what that means?
I'm feeling all right, Doctor. But perhaps it is because I, too, am used to the smell of the dead.
Is there no one who deserves your leniency, then? I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye. Have you no friends at all? Aren't you frightened? The body is still warm. This man has just been drained of blood. Have conditions improved in Whitechapel? Don't blame yourself. Anyone in this position would be afraid. Prepare yourself, Hunter. You're about to be hunted, just like me. And you would like me to eradicate this threat. Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them? Why not try seeking help instead of peddling your wares? I'm sure there are people around here that would gladly help. Violence breeds violence. Don't you see, sooner or later you will become the target, in retaliation for all you've done. Is it true you were dropped in rank? Tell me about it. How do you feel since your return? What the hell was that thing? He wasn't an Ekon or a Scow. You have no idea at all? You seem to know so many things about the secrets of the vampire underworld. Have the Guard of Priwen attacked you? Hello again, young man. I'd like to have a word with you. Before I accept, I have so many questions. You run an illegal business with someone you hate?
Speak clearly, then, and answer my last question.
I'm not worried. But you seem tired.
Scars are hostile vectors of contagion. That is a fact. But first and foremost, they are victims.
Perhaps they're more indifferent than resentful. Maybe they're just waiting for you to make amends. Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so. This place has been ransacked. Sorry, there's nothing here. Medication and drugs are a rare commodity in East London, so you picked an easy target, didn't you? But how will you sustain yourself? What kind of stories? Is this really him? As a man of science, I can tell you this. Vampires don't exist. They're creatures born from our primal fascination and fear of blood. Goodbye, Mother. Try to rest now. This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Complicated, my friend. The rich and powerful feel threatened by the disease and have asked me to put an end to it. My mother is gone, Avery. Whatever illusions have clouded her mind, they are too deeply rooted for any hope of recovery. I'm sure you have friends and relatives who will help if you just ask, Miss Price.
How can I? I've destroyed my family. My poor mother. I can't even console her.
I wish I could stay here and take care of you, but I don't belong here anymore. My new home is an empty room, as cold as night and as red as blood. What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
Why did you choose me?
The head of the guard of Prewan stopped by to see Dr. Swansea. Do you think the docks will always be a hive of scum and villainy? I know you've been learning to use a gun, Sabrina. What are you up to? Your mother could not help you the way you wanted her to. Her love for you and the horror of your crimes tore her apart. I apologize, nurse. I needed some time to myself. This has been the longest and strangest night of my life.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this. I will not take another life.
Are you alone? Where is your family? Who would you trust around here? Did he fake his interest in astronomy to get close to you? I only see one customer. If you have something to say, say it. I'm getting tired of all this. You made me swear on the blood of William Marshall during my initiation ceremony. Why was that? So you're just like any other couple, after all, are you not? Why were you locked in that sewer? What happened?
Where am I? Where is this place? But I'm certain the current primate has no wish to resign.
Do you take pride in the fact that people actually believe you killed your own father? Shame on you. This painting looks suspicious. Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
All right. But no more riddles. Enough of the obscure songs and prophecies. I ask questions, and you answer them.
It seems I'm the butt of a joke. Or pigeon of a con. Dr. Swansea might have told me who I was going to meet. You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he? Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept? As I feared. Samuel no longer preaches the good word. Yes. Blood is the definitive key to our species. Scales, cleansing, lineage. Do you really think it worked? I'm not here for a bounty. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reid from the Pembroke. Blood of a pure heart, garlic, blood of a king. I don't understand. Perhaps this is what McCullum drank. I had better keep that in mind. Why have you asked me here? I had to pass several of your barricades and outposts to access your mansion, sir.
Well, get rid of me then.
Why does your waitress feel in danger working on the docks? Thank you. And you are... Oh, really? And you're still alive.
Farewell.
Something like that, yes. How can I save London? As a practitioner of the medical sciences, I'm prepared for the death of loved ones. But mourning in the shadows, deprived of sharing one's grief. But he died anyway. Why do you think there shouldn't be a death penalty?
Oh, Mary. What have I done?
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool. Yes, you should. I killed my own sister because of the hunger. There comes a time when a mortal is only seen as blood by a vampire, whatever the bonds between them. I have heard enough. Goodbye. I still hear her last thoughts. They echo in my head. Her mind shattered, and it haunts me. That sweet fragrance, Elizabeth's perfume. She was here, and recently. You don't have to tell me any more. Answer my question. Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved? I should take a look around. Something has to be hidden in this castle. What are you going to do? I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor, Dr. Reid. Quarantine is not a bad idea, medically speaking. But I'm convinced this epidemic will not be contained by mere walls. So you're ready to die. They've all been butchered. Wait, I saved you from this creature. That must count for something. But you were drunk, weren't you? Are you sure these two men were not just kissing? I mean you no harm. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid. I just want to talk to you. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. What about the situation in the East End? Why are there no police there to protect the civilians? Mary. No, don't! Who are the more influential figures on the docks? Who is this man? What does he look like? Why are you so concerned? My fault? What do you mean? I don't charge patience. My scam is much more subtle than that, Miss Paxton. Competition, you say? Did you know of your son's plans to join the Wet Boot Boys gang? Doris Fletcher seems to be the missing link here. It can't just be a coincidence. I should go to her acting school. They won't banish you. Well, I have nothing to stop the bullets, but this should make you feel better. It's locked. I see. Well, it looks like you found yourself a nemesis. I'm a doctor, remember? I'm investigating the flu, how it is spread, and how it can be contained. You didn't force me. This is my decision to make. I believe you're still of use to the hospital, considering the situation. My strength. My reflexes. I'm not human anymore. Your word is my command. It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can. I'm not certain. I've adjusted to my new condition. I'm at ease, but Mary's funeral. It's brought too many feelings to the surface. I can't say I approve of what you did. But as a field surgeon, I know that some situations require you to bend the rules. What steps are you prepared to take to feel more useful? Why lie about it? Human blood. Whoever left these marks did so deliberately. Who are those men? Mary. I thought I had murdered you. I tried to end myself. We've been through the same horror. Perhaps you're right. Maybe I am a monster that deserves no mercy. But that's not all I am. Everyone here is very capable. I have not seen any instances of unprofessionalism. As a practitioner, I believe science will provide a new standard of welfare. It's just a matter of time. I spied my mother at the funeral. Have you ever revealed yourself to a member of your family? And so this is why you're here. To warn me. You've felt this pain yourself. You too have endured this. Take this, then. And perhaps you could try to slow down the alcohol intake, too. I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. Nobody is immune to disease. There's no need to be ashamed of that. Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here like everywhere else. Are you really going to seek revenge for Mr. Digby's death? So you're open all night? Something like that, yes. Is he worth the risk? Can I see what you have to sell? The marks on this woman's neck were made by the fangs of a vampire. Have you been staring at Camelia's grave all this time? I did my best. I'm not sure I like your attitude. If you have something to tell me, say it. Are you that blind? I've seen hundreds of victims piled up in this city each week. My lady, the blackmailer was dealt with using the utmost discretion. The culprit's identity is of no relevance. Why do you and your husband argue so much? Is it possible to tell me my future? What's going on? No one's there. You don't know what I saw in that laboratory. Believe me, this cure is not real. And if you're lucky, it will kill you. So you do know him. You've finally left your criminal life behind, Booth. How do you feel? I'm sure Colleen Russell has no interest in such a conventional menu. You certainly have an inquisitive mind. It's quite something. Elizabeth Ashbury, only you can make me smile in these difficult times. I'd like to see your goods. We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope. Money cannot solve every problem. This mysterious epidemic is going to require more than money can buy. Mary did not deserve her fate. She had already suffered enough during her life. And yet the pain and the suffering went on after her death. You can lie to me, but not to yourself. You're a compulsive killer, and you'll always be one. I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about. Were you fired? I see. Stop calling me that. Is that what I've become? Thank you. I will bear that in mind. Like me, I understand your pain, but you cannot mother him forever. Tell me about your adoption. There's no need to apologize, my dear. It's normal, considering the circumstances. What's going on around here? Where is everyone? Those bastards! What have they done to Edgar? Treating a vampire hunter's wounds is certainly a first for me. I'm happy to help you, of course. How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe? If you had time to question your heart, what would it say? Stop fooling yourself. You've never faced a vampire before. You wouldn't stand a chance. Was it wise to become so intimate with a woman you were supposed to interview, Clayton? Lack of sleep and the medical profession always ends in disaster. I've witnessed many a colleague succumb to stimulants to fight exhaustion. Drugs were as deadly as bullets in the trenches. I beg your pardon? What is your name, sir? A more cynical analysis would be that this is an acceptable catastrophe. My point exactly. The disease turned her into a bitter soul, driven by vengeance just like her mother. A symptom of all the infected patients. It's a shame he can't hear you, don't you think? Would you care to partake in this meal with me? Maybe there's a way to break into this house. Really? How do you know? When will you return? I must confess, some of my rational views have been shaken by recent events. I would rather not know. What a poor justification for your morbid fascination and thirst for glory. If you'll accept some advice from a petty mortal, I think you should assume a low profile and just quietly disappear into the shadows. But carrying a gun does not make you a murderer. What will happen when the gang wants you to really kill someone? Will you have it in you? Do be careful. These streets can be as dangerous as that terrible place where we first met. So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war. Could you at least tell me your name, sir? Well, I don't think you should talk to him. He may be very sick. I recently met a talented painter with an excellent technique. I wish you two could meet. I'm sure you'd like her. Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses? This creature is bedeviled. I must put it down. Are you truly seeking to identify my maker? To endure true guilt may be punishment enough, Mrs. Fishburne. And we all have to bear that cross. Don't you think we have enough work already? Perhaps now is not the best time to be chasing shadows. The world is bleak, but maybe the pain we feel is the best compass for making it a better place. Why are you being so aggressive, Milton? You don't say. How convenient. Sir, you have no idea what could happen to you if you stay here. Why don't you go home? How dare you welcome me as if everything is the same? We both know things have changed a lot, don't we? Always glad to see a former patient in good condition. It's been a long time. I was a field surgeon. I had to invent ways to fix bodies thought broken beyond repair. You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps, but who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction? There is no shame in asking for help, my boy. Sometimes it can even be the best course of action. As I just told you, I'm a doctor. From the Pembroke Hospital, actually. Do you want your notebook back? Death is painful for those who remain, not for those who have passed. All that occult gibberish you filled your head with has made you forget this simple truth. I don't believe I've ever met a man so bereft of empathy. You, sir, are despicable. I've told you once. This is a private concern. This man's far too old to be Samuel. 29 Pretty Orchard Street. This is it. What's in there for me? But this is no common epidemic. I was hoping to meet you again under different circumstances, Clarence. You are mad. Can you forget your revenge for just a few minutes? I'd like to see your goods. I believe in the logical and factual organization of everything in the universe. God, if he exists, is just a principle waiting to be discovered. Your medical report says you're not affected by the Spanish flu. What do you think of that, Mortimer? How do you measure the amount of blood on my hands? Behind all your crude words and your attitude, I sense romance and a soft heart, Miss Cox. You sound surprisingly sad. Have you regrets? Who are you? Stay back! I suspect they would rather not be disturbed for now. I need blood. Every night. Who I decide to kill is my burden. Of course it's me. Are you feeling all right, Doctor? The epidemic has escaped the quarantine. You have new cases of the outbreak. Do you have regrets, Mr. Lewis? You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health. This one's neck is broken. He was young. Probably the son. That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks. Maybe it's time for you to trust me a little bit more, my dear colleague. Are you asking me to help you prove the existence of vampires, Clarence? I haven't the strength to cross the threshold. I wish to pray, to cleanse my soul. Since I can't reveal myself to my mother now, I must find a discreet spot to attend the ceremony. Who are you? I like to know who I'm talking to as well. Go on. When all of this is over, the war and the epidemic, we could leave the city for a while. Travel around Europe, you and I. There must be a way to control the water level in this reservoir. I need to find the wheel. I am. But the answers I seek are based on facts, not superstition. Did you do anything that made him mad enough to kill Jack? You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic. What are you going to do then? Missing the good old days, are you not? You are nothing but a vengeful, bitter man who takes delight in selling false hope to terrified people. Are you all alone then? I could not let such a dangerous man become immortal. Not from my blood, not for you. That doesn't work. I feel someone's eyes upon my neck. But you're not dead. There is a difference between visiting the dead and staying with them. You're fools! Do you not see that failure is the only possible outcome for your project? Mary. A placebo effect is real and has benefit. But in your case, you could be murdering your customers who may die because they are not receiving the necessary medical attention. A man such as yourself, knee-deep in the muck of Whitechapel, must know more. Speak now. I'm not going to prescribe something for you if you're not comfortable. Your mother never loved you. Love used as an excuse to inflict pain and injuries is only a distortion of love. Carolyn Price was your persecutor. What on earth happened here? One last switch, and... That is none of your business, young man. And from what I understand, you should deal with your private affairs first. Pardon my boldness, your ladyship, but I have questions concerning this condition we share. Take this as my final warning. You will not profit from the misery of others. Business is one thing, but what you do is quite another. This castle has yet to reveal all its secrets. Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage. Thank you, sir. How do you pay the rent, then? I'm afraid I'm not following you. What kind of trap are you talking about? How do you feel now that you're back in Whitechapel? No, just a privileged client. My research may require the occasional rare piece of equipment or ingredient. I'll pay good coin in exchange, fair and honest, to help finance your noble endeavors. There's been a fight here. No time to lose, then. I must go there right away. You really seem to admire her skills. That's easy. Most of the time, he's in the same place. The place you never want to go back to. Where has everyone gone? Are you not concerned about the epidemic? Is anyone particularly noteworthy, then? What is your true appearance? Do you really think the world is that bad? Are we condemned to attend the funerals of all we love? Yes. Unlike the flu, the infected begin to show an increase in outwardly aggressive behavior. More than simple agitation. Once docile people become violent. It's nothing, really. And I'm sorry for your loss. So you desire to stay here. Time to put an end to this. Saved you? How? A convenient yet expensive way to have a fresh supply of blood on hand, day and night, don't you think? Since you seem quite the expert on vampires, what could you tell me about my condition and how it came about? How do you see the future of Pembroke Hospital? I really don't know if I should read this. Are you not afraid of dying? The epidemic is deadly and very contagious. There's nobody here. I love you, Elizabeth. I can do this. Please, stay with me. These people want me dead. I need to leave now. Not exactly a treasure chest. A battered box, some knickknacks, and a letter. Don't be embarrassed, sir. If you must know, my own father disappeared many years ago, and I forgave him. Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research. Wait! No! Elizabeth! I have found a restaurant that could satisfy you, Mr. Russell. The most intriguing and exotic restaurant in London. I suppose I was lucky. How do you live with the guilt? You sound like you're thinking of somebody in particular. I wish the tears would come. But I'm empty. And I feel a hypocrite. Is this your house? I knew it. I'm listening. A vampire. Is that what I am? What we are? Do we know each other? I found and defeated the disaster that was threatening to smite London. You should know that the city is safe for now, Sir William. If I could only change one thing. One thing. This is a nightmare. Don't worry. There is nothing serious to fear. I have seen far worse, I can assure you. What should I do, then? How many? How many victims? Please describe him to me. So you hunt alone? That sounds risky. And who are you, then? It would help me greatly if you would allow me to give you a physical examination. Internal hemorrhaging. I need to make another incision into the chest cavity to drain the fluids from the lung. Prepare another tube. Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town? Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the Scal, I brought him here. Where does this blood trail lead? Be careful what you wish for, young lady. I could gaze at you right now and then take you to a shady corner and have my way with you. And leave your carcass to the rats. I've done what I had to do. I did not choose this fate. But I will have my answers. I should conduct a full search of the house first. You mix your beliefs with myths. In the end, you're no better than the other lunatics howling at the moon. You're mad. And dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel. I suspect that someone else was here tonight, and I don't think Tom wants to tell me about it. I'm getting you out of here.
place reeks of bloodshed. I'm the doctor and the vampire here, so I'll give the orders. Drink, sir. Now.
But do you feel cleansed of your sins? What's this? Some sort of note.
It's true, I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help me.
My dear sister, I don't know if I have the strength.
That's quite a list you ordered. Opium, sodium hypochlorite. It can't be just headaches you're trying to cure.
So you were ordered to kill someone. What happened then?
Mary, is it really you?
I hope I haven't disturbed you. I apologize. I didn't mean to be rude. What can you tell me about this woman?
Nurse Crane, enough. Listen as if your life depended on every word. I know you've a generous heart who gives freely to those in need, but you shall walk away from the shadier streets of your business. Will you leave the guard now that you are what you are? Have you been hurt?
Let's just say I too have a good reason to visit cemeteries at night. That was unexpected. You're obviously a clever woman with a good education and a brilliant future. But have you thought about the price you'd have to pay? The loneliness, the necessary masquerade. That's quite a statement. You can't kill someone because you're fickle. Something dire must have come about.
You will obtain nothing from me by flattery, my young colleague.
What are you doing here? This place is not safe.
Well,
It seems my colleagues did a good job here.
this is madness. How many have you created? Who else? Shakespeare? Isaac Newton? Alfred the Great? Francis Drake? Thomas More? Guy Fawkes?
I must say, your house is exquisite.
You know I will not play this game.
I thought perhaps with what has happened to you, you might have learned a modicum of courtesy. Is this a sign? The hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven? You've had a sad, violent, and lonely life, with no joy to speak of. You realized that you were living with nothing but sadness.
I don't see any reason why I should justify my actions to you. What will you do after your resignation? Do you have a plan?
Aren't you too old for such jealousy? It really won't do you any good, you know. I'm not here to collect payment, Miss...
My head's spinning.
Perhaps later.
I've no interest in money. Perhaps one night I will visit you and take what I require. If that should happen, there will be no need for a middleman. Well then, if I have become what they say...
What on earth do you mean?
If that's really what you want. Is it really what you want, Miss Billow?
I'm a physician, one of the best in the country. But I was unable to save my own sister, Mary. She died in my arms. I'm afraid we'll have to arrange another funeral. For my mother this time. So you're happy to work here?
The hunger had taken me. It's over. I have avenged my poor Mary.
I have this thirst for blood. There's no shame in asking for help, especially when you are in desperate need of it. Here, take this. You should recover in no time.
Still not home. Where are you, Elizabeth? He's not convulsing, he's choking. He's not getting any air. Scalpel. Hand me that scalpel. Tell me what you are. Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You're cursed. Are you all right, miss?
Why? There is something ominous closing around me, Lady Ashbury. Something spies upon me from the shadows. Something cruel and wicked. I do not tire. No loss of breath. How can this be?
What can I say? I seem to have a knack for discovering secrets. I tried to expand my knowledge to save lives. But sometimes that can lead to terrible mistakes.
We are vampires. We live by leeching the blood from weaker prey. We are Darwin's next chapter, his cynical and perhaps ultimate expression. Yes, I have this, nurse. Allow me to finish the procedure alone. I need the room.
Forgive my curiosity, but was it difficult changing jobs? Who gave you the right to decide the fate of thousands of people? What can I say? I haven't lost my old habits. Actually, that's confidential. A sword and a moon are the symbols I should look for. My reflexes are now cat-like. You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Cox. I hope you're starting to take better care of yourself. Who are you waiting for, exactly? Let me be frank. You're as much of a businessman as I am a werewolf, right? How was my mother? How do you feel? Physically speaking, I mean. You seem to know more about the goings-on here than anyone else. Beware, Miss Jones, in case suspicion should fall on you. Do you think it's some sort of trap? Is that jealousy I sense? Another corpse. Have the very streets of London become a mausoleum? Guns are not toys, and are certainly not to be handled when one is agitated. This creature doesn't seem aware of my presence. Tell me about your claustrophobia. Has anyone given you an official diagnosis? Why are you so aggressive? Razvan Vasily was infected by Spanish flu, but also has the highly unstable blood of the Scowls. Is the London vampire epidemic transmitted through the flu? I should talk to Dr. Swansea about it. Are you that greedy? I will at last have the answers to my questions. Don't you feel threatened? Staying in such a violent and criminal neighborhood. You have a roof over your head, a place to call home. Many people here are not as lucky, you know. I was the best man at your wedding. I remember your love for him. It was so beautiful. I cried. And now you've killed him. So, are you or are you not a vampire? Have you killed someone you've known? Are you here to mourn? Or to nourish your art with voyeurism? It's a disgrace. People are left to die alone. No one is properly informed of the risks. What did I do? Tell me, Mother. You sent a man to die because of a stupid vision. I have heard enough of your nonsense. Goodbye. I have gathered all the ingredients. Time to blend my own recipe. What is this blood Bible? How many are they? This is Braille. I need someone who can read this. Yes, you did. And it was cowardly and inexcusable. You realized what it means to take a life. You feared what it would be like to carry that guilt with you. I have to find a way to lower the water level. I was only reborn for a few minutes before you and your men hunted me down like a beast. No one will mind if you attend the funeral. I know Dr. Tippett's meant a lot to you. It seems unusual to be so cheerful with everything that's going on here. Only the strongest survive, then? Survival at all costs. Is that all you think about? How could a physician help you in this matter? I could ask you the same question. What do you think of the locals? Life isn't all doom and gloom. Things will get better in time. Very well. Goodbye, then. Really? I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours? Hello, boy. Forgive me if I feel despondent, for there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us. He never goes out. Please show me what you have to sell. Ammunition crate. Good. I may need a lot of bullets. I feel like I'm back on the front line again. I'm not that frightened man anymore. I've learned so much. Done so much. Voila. There's a strength I never knew I had. I should probably leave the theater right now. I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages. Enjoy your love. And enjoy life as long as you can, Mr. Blight. Don't let anyone tell you who you should love or how you should love them. Have you always been so bitter? I wish I shared your optimism. Don't you fear getting sick yourself? And why is that? I may need equipment and some rare items to protect the city, sir. Yes? You're not the savior of London. You're just a glorified sadist. You stole the medicine he needs. You are the problem here, not him. Do you have any regrets? Please calm down and tell me what happened. You attempted murder. Give me some details. Science and progress are our only hope against the monstrosity hidden behind this epidemic. Who are you, really? Hiding your true appetites behind a facade of compassion. Bravo. Very clever indeed. Death is an appropriate punishment for your crimes, Seymour Fishburne. Cherish every day that you spend as a free man. Hello again, Carol. How are you? I'm a scientist. My trade is in the deciphering of mysteries, and I need information to feed my mind. Welcome to the world through the looking glass. Your anger may be legitimate, young man, but you're focusing on the wrong person. I'll leave then. Thank you. So you've become a decent citizen with an honest job. Would it be insolent to ask what the first step will be? I can feel your fear, madam. Please tell me what's going on. The flower's dying. It needs water. This place is dangerous. You can't stay here forever. You're a stupid bastard, but you're my friend, Clarence. And I don't have many left. I don't want you to die. Not like that. What? Well, I really can't answer that. Well, since they are creatures of blood, physically speaking, I suppose an erection is possible, but What ire has befallen me? Why do you say that? Oh, I know exactly what kind of man you are, Mr. Cox. Are you worried about the situation or your reputation? Now is not the time to think of oneself. No redemption, then. I never asked to become what I am, Edgar. You chose to conduct your rogue experiments. I know we are not living in the most peaceful of times, but I have learned to appreciate London's complexity. No, you are deluded. You think you crave blood, but you have no physical need for it. You have no idea what that is like. Mary, wait. I have made friends with vital knowledge. Vampires. We are not alone, Mary. With time, we can learn to live almost as we lived before. So, how has life been since you became a homeowner? What about us? Insult me again and I'll put an end to your misery right now. But the risk of infection using vampire blood could compound the situation. How do you identify a vampire? I'll leave you to your new life, then, Mr. Digby. Not under my watch, nurse. Take this. You'll feel better. I'll end him. Excuse my forwardness, but are you my maker? Can I do anything for your pain? Come on, girl. Smile. Don't you know Dorothy and I have an agreement? We're on the same side. No? All right, then, as you wish. You flatter me, sir. I don't fear death. You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you? There has been a fight here. I can see a blood trail. Left by one of the antagonists, perhaps? How are your children? I know it's not exactly the best time, but I found your wallet, Milton. How can you be sure the information was correct? People will laugh at you, if they don't already. Think about your wife and your position. Think about your future. You're French, but your English is quite good. Now, I can defend myself. Are you sick? We're not talking about me. The wounds on this corpse are deep. The result of rabid rage. If this is Sean's doing, he's become a murderous beast. Let's just say we had a difference of opinion, and I had to ask her to leave. Permanently. Please, call me Jonathan. I'm still persona non grata in the Ascalon Club. If I want to speak with Lord Redgrave, I'll have to improvise. Here is your prescription. You'll feel better soon enough. This is not the first time mankind has faced a deadly epidemic or a war. This creature was probably once Albert's contact. I think one vampire in this hospital is quite enough. That's fine with me. Unfortunately, I have met several murderers during my lifetime. You don't look like them. I can tell you're no cold-blooded killer. This rage you feel, have you ever been able to control it? Resist it? Farewell, my progeny. Mary, I had taken your life before I realized it was you. I tried to kill myself. What is this masterpiece? There you go, young man. Plagues and epidemics can be seen as an implacable force, a curse even. But the ferocity of mankind worries me more, for we choose what we do. Balls of Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. Will you hunt me down? Beauty is not everything, Mr. Elwood. He defiled the dead with his petty thefts. That's how he financed your misguided crusade. I am not afraid. I'm not sure I'm the best candidate for such a task. This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral. I believe you need to get back to safety as quickly as possible. But you can't guarantee infection will not spread. Just one contagious carrier would be enough to create an apocalypse. Carnage. Is Father Whitaker's disciple among the bodies, I wonder? All right. Sleep well. Have you always been this straightforward? Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh? As a soldier, you're expected to kill the enemy to survive. Guilt is a powerful emotion and could lead to feelings of suffocation and oppression. So you decide who lives and who dies, just like that. Mixing money with passion rarely delivers a beautiful story. That's quite an accusation. No. And you are? I'm sorry the effect didn't last. Sir, I wish I had found you a few nights later than I did. Or maybe never at all. Death would have been a well-deserved punishment for your villainy. I told you my name is Jonathan Reid. Don't you remember? A dose of epinephrine, now. If blood and violence is all you understand, I'm sure it won't be long before you meet them, Mr. Cox. I believe that we are, as men, our own judges, juries, and executioners. You've never faced, let alone killed, a vampire, Ichabod. You're a fraud. I've seen many deaths in my life, and we all grieve in our own way. Some stay silent, or need to shout. Others need company, and some just can't stand it. I don't believe even you deserve such a cruel fate, though you have tested my patience beyond its limit. Yes, astronomy is a fascinating subject. When I was a child, my mother bought a small telescope for my sister and I. We spent many a pleasant evening stargazing. Have you no shame? That I did not come here to kill you, yes. But I realize now the threat you embody must be stopped. I can assure you I'm more than capable of taking care of myself. Now, tell me your name. Well, you're not going to get one from me. Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist? This large bridge will allow me to reach the West End. I must cross it. Nobody at home. Admit it. Nurse Hawkins is more than your lover. She's also your partner in crime. I beg your pardon. Are you already planning a coup? Oh, you cannot imagine how relieved I'd be to catch a cold again. This castle is falling apart. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not a journalist. I'm a doctor. Thank you. Stop threatening me. Don't you realize doctors and hospitals are the last hope of this city? The death penalty can sometimes be appropriate. If I search this place, maybe I can find some explanation for what's going on. Yes, your death is imminent, Dr. Swansea. But I swear it will be quick. Do you really believe goodwill cannot last? You take pleasure from others' misery. Would you let me listen to your chest, Sean? Mother, why have you come here? This is proving far worse than I imagined. Is there nothing we can do? I feel like I have no strength left. I can't resist sleep. I must rest. You'll quickly feel better after taking this. What happened to the professional I knew? You're in no condition to perform medicine. Please quit, my dear colleague. Most people don't become thugs when unemployed. This is a choice you made. You really believe you've done nothing wrong, don't you? How long has this been going on for? I should have seen it when you were my patients. Does the pain ever stop? What is the plan? Thank you. Goodbye. The death penalty is a great shame. I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton? Do you regret me stopping you? You don't seem worried by that. These men, they're a company of professional vampire hunters. You're just a greedy hypocrite. Go on, please. I'm here to put an end to the vampire epidemic, Miss Fletcher. How's business? This place is awful, I agree. But does that not mean your situation can only improve? The world would be a better place if it were cared for by women like you. Are you so heartless that you could pull the trigger and kill someone without even blinking? Aren't you scared? I killed you. There's no excuse. My dear Mary, forgive me. I could make you tell me, but I respect your refusal. You really believe Sean is a saint, don't you?
Dr. Reid.
Sorry to disturb you at this time of night, Mrs. Fishburne. True kindness is rare. Perhaps yours conceals something else. Something more selfish, maybe. Are you all right? You can't just run away from your responsibilities. Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. I'm sure your mother is grateful for your help. I'm not here for charity, miss. I have a feeling there is a covert war taking place here. How long before London finds out about us? There's an open window on the second floor. I should be able to get in through that. Have you no friends at all? Hello? Is anyone there? A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now. Not a drop of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire. What do you suggest we do? I'm sorry we have to meet under such tragic circumstances. I've come to put an end to this insufferable blackmailing, Dorothy. Do you trust me? You can still drink tea. No sarcasm tonight? Not even a blunt accusation? I served in France. Our top priority must be to put an end to this butchery. This war must stop now. Do you think we shall ever see better days? Or at least better nights? And what are you to her? Her counterpart? Her opponent in some timeless game? Are you living on the streets, Mr. Petrescu? For God's sake, what are you thinking? How can you be so irresponsible? I must quickly analyze the blood I took from Nurse Crane's patient. I won't let you go. According to the blood patterns, that's where the victim was attacked. So that must be the killer's trail. I'd better hurry. Are you giving up? So much blood. Whoever was killed got dried out. This man was armed. He tried to defend himself. I'm the only vampire in the room for now, so please indulge me. What's your occupation? I'm just doing my job. Rest assured, I will protect you and your staff. Wait! Slow down! I need to ask you something. You're quite blunt, aren't you? When I awoke, changed, I was chased and attacked by vampire hunters. Prepared and well-trained. I've so many questions unanswered. Don't you think your money could be better spent in these difficult times? Is anyone hurt? Maybe it's just my imagination, but I think I smell Elizabeth's perfume. She must be here somewhere. I've been hearing a voice talking in my head. Is this some kind of insanity? It feels like the voice of the vampire that created me. Judging by the look in your eyes, there is something you want to ask me, Miss Howcroft. You can't impersonate a doctor. You can't improvise a medical education. People could die at your hands. How did you learn about Mary? And spare me the hocus-pocus parlor tricks. The truth, now! At last, a little life. I see that you are as friendly as ever. That's quite judgmental of you. Informing London's inhabitants of the presence of vampires. What does that make me? A double or a triple agent? This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it. Time is my ally. I'll survive the pain. Are you talking from experience? May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir? Do you live here? I will get to the bottom of this intrigue. What's been done to me? To this city? What? Surely they won't follow me forever.
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fresh water. As long as it's not holy water, I may find some use for it.
You are just another heartless murderer, exploiting the epidemic to kill with impunity.
The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now.
I will return at a more convenient time. You, at last. I wondered when you would show your face again. Step away. We have nothing to discuss.
I had better remain here until nightfall. There are blood splats on the other side of the canal. I must reach that barge. Why not answer me directly? Every door is locked. I'll need to find someone who can grant me access.
As good as one can be, considering the circumstances. You deserve no pity. No pity at all.
There is a thin line between pride and stupidity, sir. Please take this medication. You'll feel better.
Don't press your luck, Mr. Darby. I don't appreciate what you're insinuating.
Where is this anger coming from?
I'm sorry!
I must find this secret entrance.
Is this your definition of being useful? By abusing the sick and poor?
An invisible enemy. Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse. Miss, you don't seem well at all. Are you afraid of rats? Has one bitten you?
You do know I killed him.
You make it sound like it's a fairy tale. Perhaps you should try harder. It may be helpful for your memory to write or paint. Do you have a job? You could be wrong. Any chance you can help me find Sean Hampton? How is my mother?
No! No! Don't shoot!
Forget what I said. Please excuse me. I did not wish to alarm you. Everything dies. Or should. I want to thank you for all your support and your help, my lady.
No, thank you. I'm not thirsty.
Fresh blood. The whole building reeks of it. The scent is so strong it makes me dizzy.
You are going to change your tone with me, my dear colleague, and very quickly.
A shadow, indeed. Yet I heard his voice in my head. There was a moment I believed I was mad. Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you. Yes? I had choices to make.
What is this place? Stop lying to yourself. You're a mess and a disgrace.
This is ridiculous. We're losing precious time.
I'm just a doctor. It is I, once again. Why couldn't you shoot? You have not answered my question. Still, we cannot stop working until this epidemic is defeated.
In your position, I would suggest a more elaborate defense. Cynicism will not save you.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner. Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane? What is the general situation in the East End docks?
What is Mother doing here?
Do you want it back? Are you not afraid of keeping your shop open at night? You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility. Have you heard of any blackmailing going on within these walls?
No. I must know why Elizabeth fled here when I discovered she was the original healthy carrier.
The gang's recruiter was dead when I found him. Perhaps you should take better care of your son. I respect your courage, Miss Paxton, and I hope life will never wear you down. Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd? Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth. Are you all right? I heard the hospital has been attacked. Your father never gave up on you. In the end, he risked everything to save the daughter he loved. I'm sure she knew you loved her, Rufus. Does this place belong to you? How can you be so certain you can keep it open? You don't have anywhere to go. No family that would welcome you. Please tell me more about your recent investigation.
You can't be serious. You have to stop this before you lose yourself. Lives are at stake here, remember?
I wanted to know who are the more influential people around here.
The risks you've taken for your friends in Whitechapel are criminal, and you can pay dearly for them.
Shameful thoughts. Tell me about them. But you're safe now. Those men won't bother you anymore, I promise. What can you tell me about the neighborhood? Have you got any friends around these parts? So you have no home. You're sleeping rough. I'd like your advice on the matter. I followed a trail. The scent of blood from a recent victim. It led me here. I'm not sure you can consider this material factual, but it's yours now. What do you intend to do with it? You're right. I believe silence has a curative effect for the pain we feel. I suppose it provides space for reflection. I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir. He was old and sick in troubled times. He didn't have a chance. So you won't tell me your name, then? I am exhausted. But this is no time to sleep. I should be safe enough here. Who cares? We are vampires. We are death. I've never seen such a radical mutation. Could it be a new stage in the disease's evolution? Mother, This poor man has just been slaughtered by a vampire. The body's still warm. You are spying on me. Don't you work at all? Most people would have run away because of that. Finding a good restaurant. Is that really all that interests you? I don't understand. Why was I created and then left for dead? There it is. Insulin. Much more efficient than garlic against blood poisoning and sepsis, and much less dangerous for me. Thank you, Dr. Polescu. No one can interfere with my mission. I won't allow it. I have made too many sacrifices in my search for answers. A placebo is a substance or procedure that has no actual physical effect. Fire is just the instinctive answer of a caveman facing something he does not understand. This is the 20th century, if you don't mind. That gate should shut properly now. You disgusting pig. People are dying of hunger and poverty in this very city while you eat your fancy meals. Whatever your motives, you're making money by stealing from the dead. Dr. Swansea should be informed. Maybe I could teach him control, like you taught me. Lead him down the right path. I cannot use garlic, but there may be a substitute in the Pembroke Hospital drug storage. This is a slaughterhouse. Blindly punishing everyone in the area is wrong. People around here are struggling enough. Are you a doctor yourself? Is this why you feel so guilty for not saving your sick husband? You are no vampire. You are a delusional woman, convinced she is something she is not. Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean. I think you're hiding something from me. So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity? Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one. I can almost feel the sun's rays like a physical weight pressing against the wood. If you've been hurt, I can help you. I'm a doctor. Where are we? What is this place? I have the feeling that your so-called naivety has gone, at least for now. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. Why such hatred? Are you judging me by my clothes and my job? Do you have many patients? That doesn't sound promising. With such a deeply held creed, I'm sure yours will be short. So it's bad parenting, then? How convenient. Where are your parents? What is this truck? Are the vampire hunters here already? You're a monster, Mr. Cox. An ungrateful and disgusting man. I retrieved your wallet, with all the money and a certain picture. This is unacceptable. If you leave this hospital while we're facing the worst crisis ever, it just means you never were a real nurse. This is an impressive knife. There's a name engraved on the metal. Clay. What kind of man puts his name on a knife? Oh, Mother. No. Avery was not here to stop you from leaving the house. I can't believe I'm doing this. Do you feel the hunger? It seems your surgery was a success. Yes, I am. Are you going to work in your mother's shop? Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Good evening, sir. I am Dr. Reid. Tell me about yourself. I wish I could stay here and take care of you. But I'm involved in some terrible things, and I don't want to put you in any danger. And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital. Why such resentment? How could different killers inflict the same wounds? They've all been slaughtered. Prewen? No, not their style. I've no doubt. That is a wise and useful attitude in this part of town. I've identified the men who stole from you. You were right. They were members of some self-proclaimed militia. I'm afraid I see the twisted logic here. You let them believe you did it, didn't you? You'll need to feed on warm blood. Blood from mortals. How do you feel about that? Who founded the Brotherhood? That gate should shut properly now. Can I be of service to you? I'm tired of all these puppet shows. When exactly do these accidents happen? How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood? The castle walls look decrepit. Maybe I can find a way to sneak in. You and Oswald were buried alive during the war. Tell me about it. England is perhaps not the best place in the world to live at the present time. Are you certain it's worth the sacrifice? Who leads the gang now?
I need to leave this place as quickly as possible.
I care nothing for your story or your anger. You stole from him, so at the very least you share the responsibility. But Mary really is dead, Mother. Your heart might be in the right place, but you can't carry on with this blackmail. For God's sake, Dorothy, it's extortion. It's a serious crime. Why am I not convinced? Mother, do you know what's been going on in this area? So, Mason, you are the creative one in the Swanborough business, are you not? Why do you still hope to become a vampire in spite of your mother's refusal? I'm a scientist. I try my best to understand things. I know the world has to obey unbreakable rules. Does anyone suspect you of Mr. Lewis's death? What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset? I won't say a word, Mr. Blight. Your secret is safe with me. You seem hurt by their bond. The chest was originally opened to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened. Would you help them? Yes. It can be traumatic, not having the chance to say goodbye to those we love. Hello, Harry. What exactly don't you like about it? So, tell me about your gang, then. Finance the hospital? That's quite generous of you.
I don't care if you believe me or not. I know who I am and what I did. Don't think you can say the same.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself. Please do not misunderstand me. I would be delighted to discuss mundane matters and idle trivialities. Do you really feel better since your mother died, Mortimer? Or are you just more adept at hiding your despair? Yes, here it is. They thought they could finance their activities with it. Harriet, Miss Jones, has been behaving in a most violent manner. She's going to need special attention. Yes. I apologize for my outfit. It's been a long night. Are you still feeding on corpses? No regrets about your previous life? You have served this family extremely well, Avery. Your support during these terrible times is much appreciated. Are you worried about the sanitary situation? You liked him. Admit it. Have you heard anything about Sean Hampton's shelter? You really believe that no other leader could take charge of the gang? Why the sarcasm? Hello again. You're safe now. You don't have to worry about the vampire. You should just return home. It's a gift your son was hoping to give you. But I'm afraid it links him to the nearby murders. I saw many men like you during the war, Mr. Digby. Greedy little cockroaches who feed on despair. That's strange. The trail is very erratic, as if the killer was drunk or hesitant. No man can predict the exact outcome of his actions. It's the curse we have to live with. We can only gamble and do what we think is best. Tell me about your true feelings for Newton. Knowledge has always been and will remain our main weapon, and it has always come at a price. And personal initiative. You don't deserve my help. Not after everything you've said. Can I ask your name and what you're doing here? Without making excuses for him, it's safe to say that despair can poison even the sanest mind. I've words for one departed. They're not for living ears to hear. I'm so sorry. You did not deserve to endure this. Mary should never have done this to you. Did you see what just happened? The place seems abandoned. Do you not see you had it coming? Stop playing the victim. You are a danger to yourself and to others. You should be locked up. How is your wife, Venus? I believe I could agree to that. You should learn to relax a little. To be in a permanent state of anxiety can have seriously detrimental effects on your health. Do you ever think about that poor fellow I saw you push in the water? What is Ascalon? I'll leave you to your bottle then. Perhaps for the first time, you're expressing the maturity required by your position, Dr. Strickland. This difficult task is part of our job, Dr. Strickland. It's our responsibility. Your turn to be hurt. It's unfair, it's unpleasant, and there is nothing you can do about it. Sound familiar? You feed him. You barely sustain yourself on the weak blood of the dying, yet you give him your blood? Of course not. You have nothing to fear from me, or your mother. I've just looked at the blood of one of our recently deceased. You're harboring monsters under the beds of your clients. That takes some nerve. I found this box in an abandoned building nearby. I believe it belongs to you. You were the real danger threatening Clarence since his return. What would people say if they knew? You don't really make a living from your scribblings, do you, Richard? That doesn't work. You're not going to die now, Mr. Kimura. If you hurry, you should be able to get home safely. Blood. I should follow the trail. You'd better not come back here. I won't be around next time to save you. Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? Worse? I believe you're a very troubled woman, Miss Howcroft. Why was that creature after you? I have managed to improve the mixture by diluting it. Have you ever heard of Sir Joseph Francis Olive? Or the placebo effect? Seymour, why are you scaring young Rufus? This city has been rotten to the core for so long. If it wasn't this plague, it would have been wiped out by another catastrophe. There must be a way to control the water level in this reservoir. I need to find the wheel. Rest is a luxury I can't afford. I have to go now. Goodbye, Edgar. Will you sell the house? Did you really think the posters would be useful? I can't say I'm thrilled to be working here, but to be honest, I didn't have much of a choice. Edgar is no longer in McCullum's grasp. I resolved that matter. I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you? Now I am assured of your safety. That is precisely my intention. I just want to talk. I didn't mean to scare you. Thank me for what? You're nothing but the prince of a fallen kingdom. Pembroke is a graveyard, littered with corpses and skulls. Don't you see how lucky you are? You're rich, you're in good health, and you have a loving mother. You're simply drowning in self-pity. Yes, I was born a few streets away. I'm certain you have your reasons. But let me assure you, I'm not like other doctors you may have consulted with. Believe me, sir, I'm not here to mock you. What is a great hunt? These poor skulls didn't stand a chance. The people here shouldn't have to pay for this. They have already suffered enough because of you and your gang. I'm listening, my lord. Good evening, sir. It's me again. What are you talking about?
Actually, I feel worse than usual. Can you give me something?
Who are your sons? Why do you bid them farewell now? I'd like to avoid creating another vampire by mistake anyway. Tell me, how is it done? I will take that as a yes, even if I would prefer to help you in another way. But as a journalist, you also have to honor the truth. So, what is the truth about you and Christina? Any familiar or famous names? In the end, she implored me to put an end to her misery. But still, I felt I had taken her life twice. Will I ever discover the identity of my maker? Do you work here alone? What kind of modern answer? Perhaps it's time to think about something more useful to do. I'm not sure that poets are what London needs at this moment in time. Well, yes. You seem so proud of your status. Why not tell me who you're working for? She may get better. It's only a hypothesis, but I know my mother is strong. Whatever illusions have clouded her mind, they will fade in time. Thank you, miss. Goodbye for now. You're right. Your son's death was not fatal, and unlike many on their own, he is lucky to have you by his side. Do you share his point of view? And then what? I would like to ask you about vampires. Are you sure you're all right? I'm a little worried. You seem anxious. I don't quite agree, but I won't argue with you. Please, take this. You'll feel better. No. Those hunters would have made a huge mistake if they had killed you. Shadows. Tell me what you saw. Clarence, have I changed that much, Mother? Am I still your son? I don't want to appear tactless, but you're risking your health by remaining outside at this hour of night. Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. You must have your own ideas. What do you mean? It looks like we both have changed a lot. I must confess it saddens me, Sean. It's over now. London is no longer shrouded in the disaster's shadow. We're all safe. Hello, Venus. What did you do? No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you. If you are going to sleep with a lady of the night, Clayton, I would advise you to be cautious. Hello again, Mother. So why did you really want to meet me? I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation? A fool? What do you mean by that? So you hate your mother now? Never. That would be betraying your mother's trust. She would never forgive us. Did you paint them? Tell me about this disaster, creature. I know London fell victim to such a thing in 1666. What do you know about this Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole? No! No! I'll give you some advice, but understand that nothing beats practical experience, which can be exhausting and solitary work. There is no one in sight. I was conducting research in my room, away from the nightly routines. Thank you. I appreciate the advice. I want to know more about your past as an anarchist, Dyson. You seem happier than before. There is no need to thank me. Rescuing a London citizen should not be out of the ordinary, though I'm afraid it may appear so in these difficult times. So you don't think the blame is ours? The very same, Miss Fishburne. Why not change that, then? If you used your strength to do good, perhaps Harry wouldn't feel that way about you. Should I not? Lottie, tell me about the death of your mother. We can't escape the consequences of our actions. The past catches up with us in the end. Listen to me, Aloysius Dawson. You will forget your fear of dying, for it has poisoned your mind and made you bitter and ruthless since the death of your twin brother. You really believe it's just bad luck and being clumsy, then? And what about Benjamin's death? Why not ask for your help? Since you are obviously a powerful and influential immortal yourself. Your friend was planning to become a vampire. She thought she'd met an honest one and made a deal with him. Unfortunately, Emily did not survive the process. And who are you? Why are you suddenly so friendly? The last time I met one of yours, he tried to kill me. No, I was just daydreaming. Since blood seems to be the key of our existence, I imagined what could be the ultimate state of a vampire. Until the end of the world, my love. Why did he abduct you? Speaking of which, what can you tell me about your father? Why did you save me in the canning factory? But what about your life, Christina? Are you so worried about your brother's survival that you'll risk your own? And then what? What will become of me? Looting corpses in a mass grave. That is a new low. What do you do around here? I crossed paths with one. A terrifying creature going by the name of Fergal. He was sent by the Ascalon Club to exterminate the Scowls of the East End. Are you a suffragette, then? Oh, you really are Elizabeth's girl. Without a doubt. What would you do if you ever found out who did do it? Would you be willing to talk about your customers? Thankfully, he did not search your father's corpse, where I found his notes describing where he might find you. You should read them. Tell her I worry about her. Really? No one at all. I have it. I can now open the box. Did you ever blame him? What happened during the surgery? We'll see each other again soon, Edgar. Dear Mother, whatever happens to me, always remember that your son loves you. I know you did not always approve of the way I chose to live my life. All this could be so useful in a hospital. Why do you have to watch these bodies? I'm right here, Mother. I'm finally home. I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail? I killed Fergal, who claimed to be one of yours, sent to cleanse the East End of all Skulls. Will his death be an issue? I am Dr. Jonathan Reid, at your service. What's so amusing about that, if you say so? But as a physician in a time of epidemic, I must caution you to avoid unnecessary exposure, sir. I'm trying to locate Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where he could be? Did you know she was a vampire when she picked you? A close friend, then. I'm sure you can spare me a few minutes. For old time's sake, I shall report to you as soon as possible. Goodbye for now, Lord Redgrave. Not yet. I'm Dr. Reid, and I'd be glad to help you, but you must calm down first. Please, take a deep breath and tell me your name. Let me guess. You spoke to her about us, didn't you? Despite your mother's warning. I think I should try to find your friend. How did you meet Nurse Crane, Darius? Why does she trust you? I'm still searching to find a cure for this seemingly unexplainable disease we are dealing with, even if it means leaving the hospital. I can try to help your body heal, sir, but you must stop destroying it. I must find a weapon to defend myself. And who bestowed upon you this eternal youth? Or an eternity to run away from your mother's mighty wrath? Quite a terrifying idea, don't you think? Really? And why is that? Whatever this poor woman did, nobody deserves this kind of punishment.
You've always been my most amusing son.